Hello, and welcome to the Krauss House of Art. I'm your host, Mr. Krauss, and I'm bringing art to your house. Today, we'll be making a crayon resist watercolor cityscape in the style of James Rizzi. Watercolor is an extremely versatile paint media that can be used for a variety of visual effects once you learn how to use it properly and learn a few techniques. Resist is just one technique employed in watercolor painting. A water-resistant medium, in this case wax crayons, is applied to dry paper before painting to create the resist effect. The watercolor paint will not adhere to the resisted areas, but will seek out the cracks and crevices within the resist layer and be absorbed by the paper. Watercolor is a transparent medium and will contrast with the resist areas because crayon is an opaque medium. It looks cool. James Rizzi was an American pop artist from New York, best known for his vibrant, youthful graphics and his three-dimensional prints. He was born in 1950 in Brooklyn and studied arts at the University of Florida, Gainesville until 1974. He developed a distinct, characteristic style in which he created his own colorful world full of happy pictures which spray a vision of a happy lifetime and joy. For this painting, we will be using a canvas or paper, if that's what you have in your house, a marker, crayons, watercolor paints, a container of water and a paintbrush, and a roll of paper towels. We are going to start our painting with the foreground. The foreground is what's in the front of the picture. In this picture, the foreground is going to be a series of buildings. To make our foreground buildings, we will draw rectangles all the way across our canvas. Rectangles are just horizontal and vertical lines. Horizontal lines are lines that go across the paper, and vertical lines are lines that go up and down. We're just going to do this all the way across the paper, horizontal and vertical lines. This is going to be our foreground buildings. We don't want to make them too skinny because we want to fit our faces. And we don't want them to be too wide because we want to fit as many buildings as we can. We're going to do this all the way across our paper. Next, we're going to draw the middle ground. The middle ground is what's between the foreground, which is our buildings, and the background, which will be the sky. Our middle ground is going to be more buildings. So we're going to draw more horizontal and vertical lines all the way across our paper again. All different sizes, just like before, all the way across. Now we want to make our buildings unique by adding shapes on top of them. We're going to use a variety of shapes to help add interest to our picture. The more shapes, the more interesting your picture will be. Now we get to do my favorite part, the faces. We want to give a different face to every building. The more faces, the more fun. The last thing we have to do before we add color is to add doors and windows to our buildings. We're going to start adding color now. We will begin with the crayons. We don't want to color everything. I suggest one or two things on each building. By thing, I don't mean one shape. I mean like a door or all the windows or the whole rooftop decoration. Before we paint, we have one last little thing to do. We're going to draw a sun on one side and a moon on the other side. It's up to you which side you do which on, and you can use any colors you want. I'm going to use yellow for the moon, and I'm going to use orange for the sun. And now we're ready to paint. For painting, we're going to have our watercolor paints ready. We're going to have our container of water ready with our brush in it. And we're going to have a paper towel ready to wipe off our brush. We're going to wet our brush, and we're going to pick our first color. We're going to start with the sky, so I'm going to use blue first, but you can use any color you'd like. I'm going to wet my paint, not too much. You want it wet, but not dripping off your brush. And then I'm going to start painting the sky. When I paint, I can paint right over my moon and my sun, and that's what makes this a watercolor resist. We'll see the crayon come right through wherever we paint. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the whole sky. When you're done your sky, you're going to start painting your buildings. We're going to do the same thing, except if we used a cool color like blue for the sky, we're going to use a warm color for our buildings like red, orange, and yellow. You can use them all, just make sure you clean your brush every time. Rinse it good, wipe it off on your paper towel, and then wet it and pick your color. I'm going to start with red. I'm going to paint right over my crayon. This is our finished crayon resist watercolor cityscape in the style of James Rizzi. I hope you had fun doing this painting with me. When you're done yours, hang it in your front window so people can see it as they go by. If I see it, I'll honk my horn, so be sure to listen. And I'll see you next time at the Krauss House of Art.